The year was 2147, and Earth was a planet teetering on the edge of collapse. Decades of environmental degradation, overpopulation, and resource depletion had turned once thriving cities into sprawling slums. The skies were perpetually gray, choked with smog, and the oceans were littered with the remnants of humanity's excess. Yet, amidst the chaos, there was hope, a fragile, flickering hope that burned in the hearts of those who refused to give up. At the center of this hope was Dr. Kian Malik, a brilliant but disillusioned astrophysicist. Kian had spent his life studying the stars, searching for answers to humanity's problems. He believed that the key to survival lay beyond Earth, in the uncharted reaches of the galaxy. But his dreams had been dashed time and time again by bureaucratic red tape and lack of funding. The United Earth Coalition, UEC, the governing body of the planet, was more concerned with maintaining control than exploring the unknown. Kian lived in a small, cluttered apartment in New Mumbai, a city that had become a symbol of humanity's decline. His days were spent teaching at the local university, where he tried to inspire the next generation of scientists. But it was an uphill battle. His students were more concerned with finding jobs in a dying economy than dreaming of the stars. Kian's only solace was his daughter, Lila, a bright and curious 12-year-old who shared his love of the cosmos. Together, they would spend hours on their rooftop, gazing at the night sky through a battered telescope, imagining what lay beyond. One evening, as Kian and Lila were stargazing, they noticed something unusual, a faint, pulsating light in the constellation Orion. At first, Kian thought it was a satellite or a piece of space debris. But as the days passed, the light grew brighter, and Kian's unease grew. He tried to report his findings to the UEC, but his calls went unanswered. The government was too preoccupied with its own problems to care about a distant anomaly. Then, one fateful night, the light appeared in the sky above New Mumbai, brighter than any star. The city fell silent as people gathered in the streets, their faces illuminated by its eerie glow. Kian's heart raced as he realized the truth: this was no natural phenomenon. This was something far more significant. The light suddenly intensified, and a massive object emerged from the darkness, a sleek, obsidian-hulled warship, unlike anything humanity had ever seen. It hovered ominously above the city, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly energy. Then, a voice echoed through the streets, deep and resonant, speaking in perfect English, people of Earth. We are the Galactic Empire of Zorith. Your planet has been deemed unworthy of existence. You have 72 hours to surrender, or face annihilation. The world erupted into chaos. Panic spread like wildfire as people scrambled to make sense of the situation. Kian stood frozen, his mind racing. He had always dreamed of contact with an alien civilization, but not like this. Not as a death sentence. As the Zorathian warship loomed overhead, Kian felt a surge of determination. He couldn't let humanity go down without a fight. But how could they possibly stand against an empire that had mastered interstellar travel? The odds were impossible, but Kian knew one thing for certain: he had to try. The next 72 hours were a blur of fear and desperation. Governments around the world convened emergency meetings, but no one could agree on a course of action. Some advocated for surrender, hoping the Zorathians would show mercy. Others called for resistance, but their voices were drowned out by the overwhelming sense of hopelessness. Kian, however, refused to give in to despair. He reached out to his former colleagues, a group of brilliant but marginalized scientists who had been cast aside by the UEC. Together, they formed a clandestine team, working around the clock to devise a plan. Their only hope lay in the Ether Project, a top-secret initiative Kian had spearheaded years earlier. The project was designed to harness the power of quantum entanglement, creating a weapon capable of disrupting the fabric of space-time. It had been abandoned due to its high risk and ethical concerns, but now, it was humanity's last hope. The team worked tirelessly, repurposing the Ether Project's technology into a weapon they called the quantum pulse cannon. The cannon was designed to emit a burst of energy that would destabilize the Zorathian warship systems, rendering it powerless. But there was one catch: the cannon had to be fired from close range, within the warship's energy shield. It was a suicide mission, but Kian knew it was their only chance. As the deadline approached, Kian made the difficult decision to leave Lila behind. He entrusted her to his closest friend, Dr. Amara Patel, a fellow scientist and single mother who had become like family to them. Lila begged him not to go, her eyes filled with tears, but Kian held her close, promising to return. "I have to do this," he whispered. "For you. For all of us." The mission was launched under the cover of darkness. Kian and a small team of volunteers boarded a modified spacecraft, their hearts pounding as they ascended into the sky. The Zorathian warship loomed ahead, its massive silhouette casting a shadow over the Earth. As they approached, the warship's defenses activated, firing bursts of energy that narrowly missed their ship. Kian's hands trembled as he guided the spacecraft through the barrage, his focus unwavering. Finally, they reached the warship's energy shield. The quantum pulse cannon was activated, its systems humming with power. But just as they were about to fire, the Zorathians detected their presence. A swarm of drones emerged from the warship, their weapons trained on the spacecraft. Kian's team fought valiantly, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. One by one, their systems began to fail. As the drones closed in, Kian made a split-second decision. He would sacrifice himself to ensure the cannon's success. "Get ready to fire," he ordered, his voice steady. "I'll draw them away." Before anyone could protest, Kian ejected from the spacecraft, using his suit's thrusters to lure the drones away. The team watched in horror as he disappeared into the swarm, his fate uncertain. With heavy hearts, they activated the quantum pulse cannon, sending a burst of energy toward the warship. The explosion was blinding, the shockwave rippling through space. When the light faded, the Zorathian warship was crippled, its systems offline. But Kian was nowhere to be found. Back on Earth, the world celebrated the apparent victory. The Zorathian warship was adrift, its threat neutralized. But for Kian's team, the victory was hollow. They had lost a hero, a friend, and a father. Lila was inconsolable, her heart shattered by the loss of the only parent she had ever known. The UEC, however, saw an opportunity. They seized control of the quantum pulse cannon, declaring it a weapon of mass destruction. The scientists who had risked everything were sidelined, their contributions erased from history. The cannon became a symbol of humanity's defiance, but also its corruption. Meanwhile, the Zorathians were not defeated. Deep within the crippled warship, their leader, Commander Valen, plotted his revenge. Valen was a ruthless strategist, his cold, calculating mind matched only by his disdain for lesser species. He had underestimated humanity once, but he would not make the same mistake again. Valen activated a contingency plan, sending a distress signal to the Zorathian Empire. Reinforcements were on their way, and this time, they would show no mercy. Earth had 48 hours before the full might of the Zorathian fleet arrived. The UEC, now aware of the impending threat, scrambled to prepare. But their efforts were hampered by infighting and bureaucracy. The world descended into chaos as people turned on each other, their fear and desperation boiling over. Lila, however, refused to give up. She believed her father was still alive, and she was determined to find him. With the help of Amara and a small group of rebels, Lila infiltrated the UEC's headquarters, where the quantum pulse cannon was being held. They discovered that Kian's sacrifice had not been in vain. The cannon's energy burst had created a temporal rift, pulling Kian into a pocket dimension. He was alive, but trapped. The rebels devised a plan to rescue Kian and use the cannon to destroy the Zorathian fleet. But time was running out. The Zorathians had already begun their assault, their ships raining destruction on cities around the world. The rebels fought their way to the cannon, their determination unwavering. As they activated the cannon, the Zorathians launched a final, desperate attack. The rebels were outnumbered, their defenses crumbling. Lila, however, refused to back down. She took control of the cannon, her hands steady as she aimed it at the Zorathian fleet. With a deep breath, she fired.